So let's take a look at our next topic, which is the channels of mass communication. Now, what do we mean by the channels of mass communication, or when we are talking about the channels of mass communication, what are we ideally referring to? Well, when we're speaking about the channels of mass communication, what is mass communication? It is the way we send our communication across to the world, where if or where maybe a group of people or maybe one person is trying to send across a message. That is exactly what is mass communication. Now, the channels of mass communication will ideally the modem through which the message is passed. Confused? Let's go through the points. The first one being newspaper. Newspaper was something which was established in the early 19th century, that is somewhere in 1800 and some year. With the newspaper coming into the picture, it generally initially with the newspaper it was about general topics. Slowly and gradually newspaper was used for advertisements as well. However, the basic purpose of the newspaper always remained the same, as the name suggests, telling the news. Newspaper was initially used only about general topics, which is, you know, what is happening around, if there was any crime committed, what not, with all those details. However, the earlier in by the mid of the 19th century, people started using the newspaper for advertising as well. So that was one form of mass communication wherein people started placing their advertisements in the newspaper, and so the whole world could read about it. So if I have to give you a simple example, now again, that was with more of context to say advertisement. But however, if I would say that with the newspaper into the picture, if I would put it across like this, that while the newspaper was launched, if the if anyone wanted to say out something, wanted to give out something, some news, they could easily do that, using the newspaper. How is a newspaper a channel of mass communication? Firstly, so even if I go through page wise, firstly you get the news about the entire world, or rather, let me put it across in this way: what is happening around you is communicated to you by the newspaper. So if you have your relatives who are living in London and you want to know about what is happening in London, or if there has been, say, there has been a terrorist attack, or there has been a flood or an earthquake in London, God forbid, of course, and your relatives living in London, it's obvious you'd be concerned about them. You would like to know more. I mean, what is happening, if they're safe, if they're not. Or even say you're in India and your cousin is in London, how would you even know if there's an earthquake? Who will communicate to you? The newspaper. So the newspaper first of all gives you communication, not only to you but to the entire mass, about what is happening around you, what is happening around the world. Secondly, in case of, now there is something called an obituary column in the newspaper. When you look at the obituary column, they're about people that it's all about sad demises or remembrance. So maybe there's a long lost friend who's of yours, maybe a schoolmate, or maybe a high school friend of yours whom you have lost touch with, and you suddenly see that, read in the newspaper that your friend has lost his mom. Right now, you're not in touch with him. His mom might have treated you like her own son. His mom might have treated you with a lot of love and a lot of care, and you might have never even come to know about it, hadn't it been for the newspaper and the obituary column in the newspaper. Maybe it's already been a lot of years that has passed, that his mom has passed away, However, looking at the obituary column, you realize that you see, oh, she's passed out. She's passed away. I mean, yeah, she's passed away. So it's about remembrances. You remember memories and a lot of stuff. Okay. Apart from that, the newspaper is used by companies to let the mass know about their stocks. When I say stocks, I mean stock exchange, like the share prices and so on. Okay, which is many a times the companies publish. If the company wants to spread out a message, for example, if the company is launching a new product, they might advertise it onto the newspaper so that you are aware that okay, this company has launched a new product and this is the product with so and so features. If the company wants to communicate about some employees who have quit the job, the newspaper also updates you, or rather warns you if there is a criminal on the loose. The newspaper might warn you that so and so criminal has just escaped from prison, and you need to be careful about it. If there's a certain disease which is there in the air, you would come to know about it only by the newspaper. Newspaper helps communicate to the general mass in case, say, recently there was a case of swine flu. So people had to take precautions, but as a commoner, I did not know what precautions I should take. It was only after reading the newspaper that I realized, okay, these are the precautions that I need to take in case I do not want to suffer from swine flu. At the outbreak of any diseases, newspapers do tell you what kind of precautions you should take. This mode of or this channel of mass communication is available in various forms in various um, languages. You do not need to be an English literate to read a newspaper. Newspapers are available in different languages. Like if you look at European countries, you might have it in French as a language. If you look at Spain, you might have it in Spanish. You have Spanish newspapers. If you look at India, you have it in Hindi, you have it in Marathi, you have it in Bengali, you have it in Tamil. If you look at Pakistan, you have it in Urdu. So this thing is for everyone. This newspaper is for everyone and is one of the best forms of mass communication, also known as mass media. Newspaper is a form of mass media because it is a medium through which communication is done. Now, coming on to the next one, let's take a look at radio. For all of you who do not really get a lot of time in the day, or who have no time to spare at all to read the newspaper, though it is one of the best ways of increasing your knowledge, increasing your vocabulary, knowing the languages better, radio is another form. Radio is for you. So while you're driving, say you're driving and you're alone, you need some company, you can switch on the radio. Maybe you would know that there is a traffic jam or there's a roadblock at a certain road. So the radio jockey or the RJ would communicate to you there's possibility if say there's a massive traffic jam or there's a blockage or there's an untoward or a bad situation on the roads at a certain lane at a certain road. The radio jockey would inform the same to you so that you can take a different road. Now you're not the only one. If imagine if people are not aware about it, and newspaper is printed ideally only once in a day, that's at the night, so that you get the newspaper right in the morning and you know what has happened yesterday. But radio is something which gives you live news all the time. These days, cell phones have also been equipped with FM radios. All you need to do is just plug in your headphones and listen to it. You have radios in the car, you have radios everywhere. But I was saying, what good does the radio do? Right. So if the radio is on, say you're driving, the radio is on, or say if there's an accident. Sorry, I'm sorry. Say there's an accident. People unaware about that there's an accident or there's a blockage on a certain road. Say ABC road. On ABC road, there's a blockage or there's been an accident. People are unaware about that and they keep on going. What is going to happen? It's just going to create a huge traffic jam. You cannot wait for the newspaper to be printed because probably if the traffic jam grows to this extent, you might have to wait for the next day's newspaper while waiting in the traffic. The longest time I have ever waited in a traffic jam is 3 hours. So, anyways, coming to the point is, say road AB is completely jam packed and there is no way that you know about it. What do you think should be done? It should be announced over radio that people who are driving, people who are listening to the radio, please listen that road AB is jammed. There's been an traffic jam or there's an untoward situation or there's a blockage on the road. We request you to kindly take road CD so that you can reach your destination and avoid the traffic. Who's been benefited? You and a lot of people around you. Now, individually, if there is one person who's standing out there and individually keeps on telling, it doesn't really do the trick because how how much will one person hear? But at any given point of time, there is at least a bare minimum of 1 million people hearing the radio at any given point of time all over the globe.